Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second interview on day two of Powerhouse 2014 Summit. I know it's a mouthful. It's a mouthful, but I'm delighted again to be with you. I just want to, for a moment, just want to really offer my gratitude to you. The emails that I have gotten are just really humbling. I'm so glad that you are having the experience that you're having, and this is being of service to you. These women who have gathered with me this week have been very intentionally drawn to this group, to this summit, and I have them here because I believe in them and I believe in the message that they offer, and I want you to be able to experience their wisdom and their beautiful offerings that they have. You will, continue to be delighted for the rest of the week, I assure you. And today I have somebody that is really special to me. She has been a mentor for me, and this is a woman that has, for me, really, when she is a luminary. There's no doubt about it. She has been somebody that has been able to align the aspect of being a spirit and in human form, that has been able to align what it feels like and what it looks like to bring your soul into existence and to really have the courage to speak that. Her experience is prior is in marketing, and to have somebody with that kind of experience, that kind of power, be coming out and speaking to us about soul alignment and how important it is for us to be in this path is just really fun and really remarkable, and actually a beautiful example to all of us women to be able to be in the presence of Debbie. And when I did the video about all the different speakers, one of the things that I said about Debbie, and I want you all to really tune into, and I think she knows this, I think I've heard her say this, but I definitely feel it every time that I'm in her presence or that I take any of her classes, and that is that in her voice there is a very strong activational energy. And this may sound very out there and maybe a little bit woo-woo for some of you, but we are impacted by sound, and we are impacted when there is really forceful and commanding intention behind a voice. And if you listen to her, allow yourself to be activated. And hi, Debbie, you're here?
Hi, Asha. Thank you. Wow, what beautiful words. What a beautiful resonance to just start off this call. Thank you so much, and I'm really honored and blessed to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know if I can, I don't even know what your bio is.
Honestly, the best, it's my background's not as important as the vibration of what's happening today, so I could not have asked for a more beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I always learn a lot from you, and I think that having you come and speak to us about soul path is, I'm a long-time student of yours, so if I don't know what soul path is, there's something seriously wrong here. But I know that there's, many people from all walks of life who are listening in. I've gotten emails from people who, they're new to these kinds of conversations, and even people who have, a little bit more seasoned in the conscious path. But I wanted you to see if you could tell me a little bit about, well, what does it mean to be, or what is one's soul path, and what does it have to do with being authentic?
That's a great question, and to be honest, I might not be new to the dialogue, but I'm probably new to saying it out loud as strongly as I have in the past. I'm known in the marketplace as a 30-year marketing and business growth expert. but I'm a 20-year energy worker, and you can't work with vibrational energies and not be profoundly affected by them, and realize that what we do is not necessarily who we are. And I think that's important to remember. What you do for a living isn't necessarily who you are. In some cases it is, some cases it isn't. But who you are is this magical, unique expression of so many of what you were born into this world with. And people go off path and think to themselves that they are their fears, they are what they can't do, they are what judgment, how people criticize them, what their judgment is. But that's not it at all. God sent you a gift when you came into this body, right? And you only get this body one time around. And God sent you the gift of your soul. And your soul has nothing but unconditional love for you. It's resonating at the highest vibration of energy, and we experience that usually when you've experienced that place of bliss, that experience, that place of unconditional love where you feel your emotions are so strong, maybe you burst into tears. You're experiencing the energy of your soul. And your soul wants you to walk on this planet experiencing more fully of who you are. And we might use the word being authentic. But even authenticity doesn't carry the highest vibration of who you are, because who you are right now changes. And your soul holds that possibility for you to keep evolving and learning more and more about how powerful a human being you are and how brightly your light could shine. And most people spend their lifetime, unfortunately, covering up that brilliant, beautiful, unique light that you are. And they do it in the form of fear. They do it in the form of judgment. They do it in the form of trying to be what they think other people want them to be. And so I would say that January 1 of this year marked my 20-year anniversary in business for myself. And I know I'm very excited about that. And my journey has taken a lot of twists and turns. And when I started out, I had the intention of helping people grow their business and making a lot of money. And I can tell you 20 years later, that is the byproduct of what I do. I want to support everybody on this planet by being financially prosperous. But I no longer look at what I do as a career. I feel like it's much more of a calling. Yeah. I'm really here to do God's work, and you can use whatever word you want. I would use the word God. I'm here to do God's work. And to being in these higher vibrational energies, it is so exquisite is the closest word I can bring. If you can combine the word exquisite and the word grace and the word humbleness and the word gratitude all in one, it scratches the surface of what every human being was put on this planet to experience every day in their life.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I wanted you to chat a little bit more about this thing of frequency, because or vibration, different levels of vibration, because as we sort of elevate and tune into that energy of our soul, I'm like I said, listening to you and talking to you makes me do this. I'm pretty much, always hanging with my soul, but to be able to really feel the resonance of the words and to really feel the resonance of what, I can feel it, like I can tangibly feel it. And I wonder if you could just share a little bit more about, sort of the different vibrational places that we are as we engage or disengage with our soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Your soul communicates with you every single day in various forms, and it shows up in various forms because God sends you messages all the time, and God's going to send you messages through different messengers, and your soul is absolutely one of them. Now, the greatest thing about your soul is your soul's on your side. I mean, it's there to help you have profound experiences. It's there to remind you that when you get thrown a challenge in life, you can pick yourself up and you find out how much stronger you are than you ever thought possible. So it's not that your soul provides all these wonderful experiences or provides challenges. Imagine that your soul is that cheerleader that's always hanging out with you, reminding you that you can live in the language of I can do this, I've got this covered, this is easy. It's the language of I can. Now, when you ask me about vibrational energy, so I'm going to give you a super easy example that every day you will understand which vibration you're hanging out with. All you have to do is say the words out loud, I can't. Mm-hmm. Just say it, Asha. Mm-hmm. I can't.
Oh, I hate that.
I know. It's got such a vibration, and yet I would almost guarantee you that there's some form of an I can't voice in your head.
Yeah, for sure.
Just in some way. I can't have this relationship. I can't make money. I can't take this risk. If there's some form of a lower vibration that's hanging out, and which is not soul-made, it's self-made. Think about that. Yeah. It's not soul-made, it's self-made. And your soul lives in the vibration of I can, in empowering you and putting those kinds of words in your head in the first person. Okay?
It's almost even like it's not I can, it's I will, right?
Well, let's think about this for a second. Go ahead and say, say I will do this project. Say that out loud. I will do this project. I just felt
that. Yeah, I will do this project. Almost has
now this, say I can do this. Yeah, now say I can do this project.
Yeah, I can feels more like it's choice.
Yeah, well, it's you're always living in a state of choice. And when you live in the world of I can, your choice becomes empowering. That's a higher vibration.
Yeah.
When you're living where you feel like you're constricted and you don't feel like you have a lot of choice, which is complete fallacy and it's an illusion, and that lower vibration, you have basically created a box around yourself. And then it does feel like I can't do this because you've actually taken away the space and you've disconnected from the space of your soul. It doesn't mean that it's not always there. It's kind of like electricity. Electricity is always there, whether you have the light switch on or off.
Yeah, yeah. So how does somebody know if they are on their soul path, communing with their soul? Is it, I mean, I sense things, I'm empathic, so I can feel it, but maybe not everybody's like that. So how would they know if they're on track? Not on track, but if they're...
No, it's a great question. Yeah, it's a great question, and it's actually pretty easy to know. You definitely know when you're, let's first talk about how you know when you're off your path, okay? You're off your path when you're living in any form of fear, constriction, or lack. You've just you just booted yourself off the path. How do you get back on it? Well, everybody has those moments where, at the highest level where you're on your soul path, okay? At the highest level where you are actually completely aware and conscious of it, that you're operating on your soul path, you would use words like I just used. This is my calling, this is my purpose, This is what I was meant to do in the world. I'm honored to do this. I feel blessed to do this. It's such a joy to do this. And you feel like you are being driven. You are being driven to do this, and it's not coming from an internal motivation. Yeah. Okay, that's the highest level of consciousness, okay? But there are other times where you're tapping into it and you're not really doing it from a space of thought, okay? When you're channeling something, you create music, you create words, you teach things and words are coming out of your mouth and you don't even know where they're coming from. You know you've never said these things before. When you come up with a solution, now you're tapping into a universal mind and into a higher vibration. You're allowing yourself to be operating at that higher vibration to access that.
Yeah.
When those times when you feel overwhelmed with gratitude, you're walking in your soul's path. You're feeling the energy of the higher vibration of your soul. Those moments where you feel completely overjoyed in bliss or just in an immense state of peace and serenity. Those are moments. So people take things very literally about, they spend more time worrying about their purpose. And I will tell you something, spend less time worrying about the form of your purpose and spend more time living from a place of authenticity, of creating a life that fully expresses who you are, and the joy of that.
Well, something that you said that the job, just because, you said something about soul alignment and the job that you do, and how they're not related. And I think when people start thinking about, soul purpose or soul alignment, we tend to immediately go to like what we make a living doing, right? So what do you mean by all of that, and expand on that if you would?
Well, what I'm saying is that, you can be purposeful every day. And so you might have a job. So, you might work for somebody else that doesn't feel like it's the most fulfilling thing in the, in the world. And yet you spend your time and energy becoming the best wife or the best husband, the best mother, the best father. You want to help people in your community. So you're focusing, who you are and expressing that in other areas of your life. So I don't want people to think that unless they are doing something that is so magnificent in the way they generate money, that's the end all be all. There are many ways for you to walk in your, this journey in life. And for me, it's transformed. It can also transform how you're being. I will say this again. Let's say you are doing something that you just really enjoy. You get some satisfaction out of it. But there's other things that you do in life that you can't imagine not doing them. That's awesome. That's what I meant. But sometimes those two intersect. In my case, those two intersect. It's elevated from where I was operating before. I really enjoyed for 20 years. Well, actually, in 30 years, I've been helping people. I've always been wanting to help and serve people. That has never changed. And whatever form it was always fulfilling. In this moment, though, the way I create my business, the way I approach the marketplace is vastly different than it was 20 years ago, because I'm more in tune to the energies of what's happening around and what I'm being called to do. So, which is a little challenging sometimes, because sometimes my background is strategic marketing and strategic planning. Well, go ahead and try and have a strategic marketing session with God. The universe sometimes works on an as-need-to-know basis, which is not always useful when you're trying to plan a year out or 6 months in advance. So it's a real fine dance. It's a fine dance, but it is a magical dance when you sort of surrender to that place of staying in those higher vibrations. So yeah, how do you balance that out? Actually, that's a great question, because I think that, so what I've been saying in the last couple of days is that, many of us have been connecting our heart and our intuition and our connection to, the divine or God or our soul. And it is now time for us to really ground that, right? To ground it. And I'm hearing the same kind of
not contrast, but dance that you are talking about. It's like, well, the soul is flowing and ever evolving, and yet, there's something very tangible and effective about being able to be smart about your planning and be strategic about how you're going to approach things. Or do you think that all that strategic and planning is really stuff of the mind and it's outdated?
Yes, 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 and yes. In other words, it's all of the above. I mean, I'm not trying to muddy the waters here, okay? So the bottom line is I still send out emails, I still create events, I still give programs. That being said, I'm living in a world now where I am aware of where I'm trying to find the right word. The more I surrender, the more I realize how much I've limited myself, and I've limited what's possible of who I can serve, and I've limited myself. And so I guess what I'm saying is there are different questions you could be asking yourself, okay? Instead of saying, what are we going to do this year in our business, or what am I going to do this year in my business, and what do I want to create, and what would be the most fun for me, and what kind of people do I love working with? All good questions, no doubt about it, all good questions. But there's higher level questions that what's going to happen when you start answering those questions is it'd be easy to answer the questions of who do I want to work with, what do I want to do, what do I want to create. But then it's going to lead you to the question of, now how do I do this? What if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
How much should I charge for this? What if I don't get paid for the value of this? It can trigger a lower vibration of fear. When you stay in higher vibrational questions, you start going from a place of not needing to know how, and you start entering the world of surrender and faith. Very different. Okay, surrender and faith requires you to take action. There's no doubt about it. Doesn't mean that you just sit at the top of a mountain and go, okay, everybody's going to come to me, I'm going to live in service to you, God, and this is all going to work out, and you're just going to send me everybody. As what does they say? God helps those who help themselves. All right? It's a dance and partnership. It's a dance and partnership. So ask yourself some higher level questions. How can I be the most fully expressed in the world? What can I do to be most fully expressed in the world? How can I be of the greatest amount of service in the world? How can I leverage what I'm doing so that I reach the greatest amount of people who need to experience what I'm offering, so I can help them and guide them to the next step in their journey? Do you feel the difference in those questions?
Oh my gosh, I can so feel it. Yes, I feel it. I mean, I really feel that by asking those bigger questions, it still engages my brain, but it engages my brain in this kind of state of possibilities, right?
Exactly.
Instead of like a box thing.
Right. You live in it. You're in the world of possibilities, and you're going to end up trickling down and coming up with new programs, new products, new people. But you're thinking at a higher level. Okay, now you're thinking from a level of a visionary, and you're not limiting who you are. And to be perfectly honest, if you set some big visionary goals, if they make you super uncomfortable, yay. That's all I have to say. Is hoo-yah, just go for it. I mean, staying in this place of, I can do that. So, well, maybe we'll try this. Venture out. Don't stick your toe in the water. Just frickin' jump in. And here's the best part about it. If you fail, have a spectacular failure. But I want you to just jump in, from that place of everything that you are doing it in full service. You're doing it from a self-aware place. You're doing it from an intention, commitment to allow the universe to work with you. You're in partnership with the universe. You're not in this alone. You're in partnership with your soul, and you're going to allow any type of opportunities to help you and guide you in what it is you're about to do.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, if in fact something you do, you risk big, I call them soul-inspired risks, you risk big, the reward's going to be big, or the failure's going to be spectacular, and it's going to lead to the greatest growth you've ever experienced in your life. You're going to learn more about yourself than you ever thought possible, so that the next time you venture out into something, it's going to be far more successful than you would ever have could wrap your brain around it.
You know, and what you're saying is so important. And you know, I said it yesterday, and I'm sure I've heard you say that. You know, many of us have disappointments, right? We have things that we failed at, and we allow them to stick with us. And can you talk about that? That like there are disappointments, there are going to be failures, but how we can use those experiences to have that profound effect of really sensing and experiencing the sweetness and the prosperity that can come, and the immense success that can come from being in union with your soul.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I think there's like two separate things here. Well, first of all, everybody's experienced disappointment, not many of us.
Yeah.
We could spend this entire hour, you know, filling up the space of the disappointments I've, you know, had in my life, and everybody else I know, and everybody experienced disappointment. It's part of the human experience. The thing is that where you go to a different place, and this is a, you know, I would love to say that it's easy, but only you and I would make it hard if it wasn't easy, right? Is to live in that place of surrender and acceptance. So when you have a disappointment, it usually means that you have an unfulfilled expectation. So most people have a disappointment and they focus on the disappointment. They focus on what they didn't get. So what are you doing? You're focusing on lack. And you're focusing on an unfulfilled expectation. You expected something to happen. Now, if we're going to bring this into the language of marketing or business, of course you go out with your best foot forward, hoping to create success in what you want to do. But I'm going to just share a lesson that I've learned after 20 years. It's taken me years to actually really learn this. First of all, it's taken me years to say the word failure out loud without starting to shake.
Yeah.
And to even use that word, it's not a word that we're taught to have any kind of good relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So the second thing is to not tie your ego to results, not to tie who you are and the power of who you are to results. Because in all cases, there are things that we couldn't foresee. There's situations that we didn't account for. There's tragedies, there's happens at loss, sickness. I mean, there's a lot of things that can affect what happens to you in your life. And in retrospect, when you're at the end of the wire, you know, when you're just about to take your last breath, you are not going to go look and review your life in those last few minutes and go, I wish I had gotten a 5% response on that program instead of a 1%. I always regretted that. You know, you're gonna look back and you're gonna. Here's what if you had lived any regrets, and I hope you don't live with any regrets. You're gonna look back and go, I wish I had taken that risk. I know that I have so much more that I could be doing in the world, but not be operating from that place of, ooh, you know, there's not enough time and there's not enough space. Staying in that flow, staying in that place of being centered and grounded. It takes some quietness to listen to what you're being guided to do, and I'll tell you something. That impatience, that expectation. There's times that I've sat quiet and I got nothing. I mean, I hear crickets. I don't want anybody listening into this, you know, or watching this interview and thinking, I have meditated and I've got nothing, you know, like what do I do? Like, what do I do? You know, what do I do when that happens? I start asking myself different questions to get back in the, you know, I got quiet and then I'm like, all right, timing isn't right. So then I'm like, all right, well then what is the next greatest action I can take right now,
Mm-hmm.
that would be the greatest experience, help the most people, I'd be blessed to do. I go back to those questions. And, it's a constant dance, but it's a beautiful dance. I mean, it's a constant dance, and it also is a constant dance to remember. And, I hope people, would write this down. You are pre-wired to receive unconditional love. You're pre-wired. You are pre-wired to receive abundant prosperity. That the both of those are at the resonance, the highest resonance. Money is not a high vibration. Money is just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to be the energy that we use to exchange goods and services. Okay. Money has only, if you're going to put a vibration on money, it's going to be what you attach that vibration of. It's either going to be you're holding on to it too tight, or you're allowing it to go freely. All right? When you're allowing it to have an ebb and flow of giving and receiving when it comes to money, now you've raised it to the level of prosperity. You are pre-wired to operate at that high vibrational level and and walking your soul's path. So everybody on this call you're already pre-wired to receive this incredible flow of prosperity coming into your life. And unfortunately, there's a lot of times that you spend shutting off that flow or shutting down that flow.
And I want to come back to the topic of prosperity, but before that, you mentioned about the silence, and what I heard you say is that by being in that space of silence is where you allow information to come to you, right? Where you really allow the lines of communication to be drawn from your soul to you. And when you're feeling like I got nothing, then those are the times that you're being asked to ask a different question. So it's almost like is it that it's not the right question that you're asking, and so this is a prompt. If you're not getting an answer back, is that a prompt to, well, let me go and be asking a different question? Is that what you mean, or does it mean that the vibration of the question is not quite right on?
No, actually, what I meant, and let me add some piece to that. What I find that when I'm sitting in silence and waiting sort of for the next step, what's the next step in doing this? Sometimes I get answers and I let it go, and then it's like the 10 minutes later, then all of a sudden I stop being silent and quiet. 10 minutes later something comes through. Sometimes in that silence I realize that I was looking very specifically for something to show up in a certain way. That's when I ask myself different questions. And sometimes I realize, and it's always after the fact that I realize this, and this is always the case, there's big stuff going on over my head. So just remember that there are times if you stay committed to operating, living your space from a higher vibration, there are times that huge changes are happening over your head. That would describe pretty much all of my October, November, and December of this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I created some the most powerful programs I've ever done to this date, I still felt like there was huge amounts of shifting going on over my head, because when you're operating in these spaces, you've got to integrate it. You can't just get this download of this high vibration and expect it to be fully integrated into your body. There's integration time.
Yeah. Well, how do you help yourself, or how do you help your body actually integrate that kind of information? I know, like for me, I just had a huge shifts, and I was taking like baths with Epsom salt and baking soda and all these funky things, because I was really feeling like I needed my body to catch up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. What do you do?
Yeah, well, I think everybody needs to have feedback. I'll just say what I do for myself, because you always have to take care of your body, because you're in this body, and without this body, nothing's going to happen, right? And so when I'm doing energy work, and when I do my events, even though like right now I'm actually transmitting energy while I'm talking, you're using up a lot of cells in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I really amp up the vitamins. So I amp up the nourishment. I pay attention. I amp up the amount of protein that I'm eating. I notice that I actually need less sleep when I'm doing like my events. When I'm just doing, I'm so far out of my body when I'm doing my live events that it takes me 3 days to get back in my body after my events. And what I mean by that is I'm in such an expanded space. I notice I actually need less sleep during the event, but after the event, my body, it's like I just literally did the triathlon, the Ironman. I mean, that's what it feels like. And so you have to honor what your body's telling you.
Yeah.
Sleep, the right foods. If you're feeling like a bath is what you need, then a bath is what you need. Water grounds and cleanses with intention, so that's always good. But it's really has a lot to do with nourishment and self-care. I also need quiet time and space. So after this call, I'm going to go outside. And fortunately, I live in a place where I can do this now in the United States, unlike a lot of other places. I need huge amounts of space, and I mean physical space. I don't, so that's something, Asha, that everybody needs to really know and get feedback from your body. I don't want to say it's trial and error, but the more in tuned you are in your body, the more your body literally sends you signals, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of why I am so excited to be doing this, and you have no idea the amount of synchronicity between the things that you have said and what has been said by myself or some of the other speakers. But it's just really amazing that everybody's kind of coming from these different perspectives, and the truth of it, what I'm hearing so far, is really grounding it into the body. This this synergy between soul and body, and how it is the perfect time now for people to begin to, if they haven't already, to really begin to ground it. And I know that one of the questions that came through in an email is that somebody said, I can't remember which of the talks they were referencing, but something about, well, there's how does being authentic, because one of the things I say is, in order to have what you want, you have to know who you are. And you're talking about prosperity. So how, explain to me in a little bit more, everyday person wants to know, well, what does that mean? If I'm more myself, if I'm more connected, does that, is prosperity also mean that I'm going to be taken care of, and that, my bills are going to be paid? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to that higher and lower vibration conversation we had towards the beginning of this call.
Okay.
To have what you want, you have to know who you are. Well, let me just clarify that from my perspective. I'm not sure what your perspective is, Asha. From my perspective, you can have a lot of things you want without knowing who you are. You can fake it. You can cover it up, but you'll work a lot harder for it.
Yeah.
And it will cost you. So you can work, 20 hours out of the 24 hours a day. You can hit burnout. You can give yourself a heart attack. You can be stressful. It can cost your relationship. But by God, you could become a multimillionaire. You can go that route if you choose. All right? You can spend all your time and energy, figuring out what you have to look like, or what you have to weigh, how you have to do in order to find that relationship that you so desperately want. You can get things by contorting yourself, working really hard, and I mean literally, it's going to cost you physically, emotionally, and hurt you spiritually, but you can do it. And there are plenty of people in the world that have, and you all read about it online and see stories of people who have made a huge amounts of money or are very famous, and they're a mess. I mean, they're really a mess. They have all sorts of anxieties. Their relationships break up. They're a mess. So it's possible to go that route. And I, started out my career, it was all about, I wasn't on the spiritual path, and I worked really hard, but I enjoyed what I did. And I had financial success pretty early on because I put in the work. I did what it requires. Now let's go to, a higher vibrational way of approaching this. From a higher vibration, as I said earlier, the highest vibration that we experience as human beings is unconditional love. There's no expectations. There's no, you have to be a certain way, look a certain way. First of all, to love yourself. Who you are is beautiful. So that's really why you came into this world. First of all, that is one of your purposes, to experience unconditional love. At that same level of resonance and vibration, you're already pre-wired to receive a lot of abundance and prosperity. Well, prosperity takes its form in many ways. Prosperity takes its form in financial prosperity because it's the action of you receiving, continue to receive, because it's not about who you are or what you are. It's because you have that birthright to receive huge amounts of money. But then there's the giving part. It allows you to tithe. It allows you to be generous. It allows you to share your knowledge, so you show other people how to do that. So now we're talking about that higher vibration of living. Now from that place, you are definitely taking action. It requires action. There's no doubt about it. But it feels much more effortless. It feels incredibly fulfilling. It feels like it also reminds you in that authentic space how you need to take care of yourself, how you need to respect yourself, how you need to set up your life so that you can continue to be in that giving mode, right? And you still open up the flow to receiving. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that place of authenticity is basically you saying, in order for me to be the most loving person, the most compassionate person, the most joyful person, a person who can give to others and really support other people and who they are, this is what I need. I need this amount of sleep. I need to surround myself by these types of people. I need to nourish so for my students, when I talk about soul enrichment, you have to enrich every area of your life. You have to, nourish your body, which we just talked about. You've got to nourish your mind. Most people don't nourish their mind with good stuff. You have to nourish your soul, right? And when you do that, you'll see how you end up living differently. And so does that make sense? So this higher vibration of prosperity, you don't have to work at getting prosperity. That's the whole point. When you're operating in that vibration, you're tapping into something that already exists.
Yeah.
You don't have to work at it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still this sort of question that I think maybe people are having, and that is if we are on the soul path, and say, I know you said, I'm going to go back to this, you said that if we are working a certain job and we feel that our purpose is really to be, a mother or a community, community bringer of people together, whatever it is that we feel really compelled with,
Right.
Spending 8 hours doing something that doesn't feel in alignment with our purpose, I still, want to keep digging and asking the question for you is there a point where someone feels like they have graduated out of that phase, out of that job, and then now they if you're so connected to your soul, then you begin to weave in what you find your purpose to be, what you feel, jazzed about and excited about, and it just there is no separation. and you begin to draw to you opportunities where you can be more of that rather than less of that. What do you say about that?
I do agree with that. There's no doubt about it. There gets to be a point where you stop compartmentalizing your life. There gets to be a point where you're working you're working for somebody else, and you realize that now the level of satisfaction and fulfillment has actually diminished to what you're getting and what you're able to give in that position. There's no doubt about it. So it really, there's a point where you reach in your life where you look at and go, I don't want to spend one moment of any of my waking hours not being able to live, the life that I want to live.
Yes.
And be the kind of person I want to be. And, I used to joke and say it takes you 40 years to figure out who you are, and then the next 40 years to undo that.
I'm at 42, so I'm a baby in undoing that, I guess.
Yeah, so now you're going to unravel all the things that you were taught as a kid and that you thought it worked a certain way, and all these belief systems. You're like, wait, why do I do it this way? That's craziness, right? I say wake up, like when you're off of this call, go, what do I want to be different, but what do I want to change? What do I want more of? What could I improve upon? What would I be blessed to do? What would I be honored to do? How can I live my life in the highest vibration? That is the ultimate question for me. And that is really what I'm here to do in this world, is to help people live from that highest vibration, which is where, abundance and prosperity exists, unconditional love exists, passion exists, creativity exists, bliss exists. How do you live from those places? And when you live from those places, when you have a big challenge or a situation that comes up, your resiliency factor is far greater. You bounce back from it, much faster. You have an inner strength that you're very connected to that allows you to move through it and have a completely different perspective on what's happening to you when it's happening to you. And you actually can go back and think about past experiences that were not pleasant, past relationships that broke up, past financial situations and devastations that you might have experienced. And you have a completely different perspective on it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The event doesn't change, but your perspective on the event and who you are and what you became because of it changes completely. So now your perspective about that event changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious if you can provide, a roadmap of sorts for those people who are listening and who will continue to listen for the next week to this interview, and when they're feeling that there's not a congruency with their soul and their life, like what would you say to them in terms of the next step to really feeling that sense of prosperity, sense of fulfillment? What tell me about that.
You want me to give you some action steps?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's take the first and the best action step you could possibly take when all of a sudden you realize you just threw yourself off the bus and you're feeling in that place of lack, right? The first thing you want to do is you want to get back to the present moment. You want to get grounded. So I start out off every program that I teach or whatever I do in my guided journeys, it always has to do with breathing. So the first thing I would tell you is you got to get refocused and back centered into your body. Because when you are feeling any kind of lack or constriction, or you're feeling like you're really off base, or a lot of fears or judgment are going on in your head, you have basically cut off all the energy from, usually a lot, so it depends, but some people cut it off literally from their neck down. Some people cut it off from their chest down. Those people, what I find is when I meet people that are go-getters, like they're superchargers, and they got to have everything done now, and they're very impatient, but they've created success by being this person that's really driven. What happens is those are also the people that all their energy is in their chest, and they throw that energy out at people, not intentionally. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, meaning, what do you mean by throwing it out at people?
Have you ever had somebody put a lot of pressure on you, go, Asha, I need this now. Like, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
Right? They're throwing their energy out at you because they're not grounded and being peaceful and centered, and there's no flow going on in their body, so they've constricted, so you're basically getting all of their energy coming out of their chest from you. So now let me show you what it means to be grounded and peaceful. Situation doesn't change, okay? Maybe there's something going on, or maybe you're not making the money you want to right now, or maybe you've got some questions. The fastest way to get questions is to get grounded and centered. So here's what it looks like. It looks like you sitting up straight in a chair and just putting your hands in your lap and closing your eyes and taking a deep breath in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Notice as you are breathing and exhaling, notice how your shoulders might drop. Notice how you start to feel energy moving down through your torso. You might actually feel energy moving through your arms, through your legs. Now you've just opened up the flow, and you've reconnected to God. You've reconnected to your soul, and you said, okay, now I'm here. Now you're present, and you can tune in. Okay, so that's the first thing I would tell. Do you notice how now I'm talking slower?
Yes.
Just by doing that?
Yes.
Do you notice where my voice is coming from right now? Do you notice it's lower?
Yes.
Okay. It's more peaceful. It's got a high, it's got a stronger resonance. So, during the day, you're going to pick up energies from a lot of people. Your family members, your spouse, your kids, people you work with, people you talk to on the phone, emails you're reading, watching the news. You're going to pick up all of this energy, and it's going to push on your energy field. All right? So the first thing I want you to do is get centered. The second thing I would suggest is you want to do some clearing. Fastest way to clear energy and release lower vibrational energy from your actual physical energy field. Go into the bathroom, wash your hands. Wash your hands, and as the water is flowing, say, I'm releasing easily and effortlessly all the lower vibrations I might have picked up today or that are in my energy field.
I remember that one.
Yeah, washing. So that's the next step. All right, the third thing is to remember that help is always on the way. The universe is always, but you have to ask for it and be open to receiving it. You have to be asked for it and be open to receiving it. And this is how you do it. You say, here's what I need help with. I have no idea how this is going to work, or what you're going to say what it is, and then you're going to expect and know that you're going to get that answer, and it's going to come up in a form, and I will tell you that it's rarely the form you think it's going to show up in. And then you're going to think to yourself, how might I solve this problem myself? I might call this person, I might go to this website, I might attend this function, I might go online and do some reading, I might buy a book. So you're going to work a plan, but I have found that in most cases, the universe is, when they talk about manifesting, really what they're talking about is they're talking about an energy match. So if you're focusing on a vibration of, here's what I want, I know I will get it, you live in the power of I can receive this, I can manifest this, I can attract this. Do you notice how that living in the I can, the vibration of that?
Yeah.
Get yourself back into the language of I can. I can receive this, I can manifest this, I can attract this, I can solve this, I can create this. Do you see how empowering that is?
And now, what about, sorry, one.
No, go ahead.
what about even taking out I can and I solve this? What I create this?
Yes, you can.
Is it too soft?
Well, here's the thing is that check in and tune into your body, okay? Because ultimately when you say, I'm creating this,
Oh,
you're also
yeah.
saying to yourself, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this, right? So tune into your body from that place of statements that feel empowering to you. And some people might want to use some different words. But I will tell you something, your soul never communicates to you in a whole, in 5 sentences or paragraphs. That's just your mind doing funky stuff. It never says, oh, Asha, you can totally do this. You're like so brilliant and you've been working at this your whole life. And it does not give you pep talks like that. It just says, Asha, do this now. And you get the sense in your body like, oh, I got to do this. I mean, it's you know what I'm saying? Or you find yourself in your head going, I could do this. What the heck? I'm just going to go for it. Did you notice it was like just small, abrupt sentences that you just said, you just affirmed to yourself?
Yeah, I love it. Well, I am sure that we have, we have 4 more minutes, and I'm sure that people are dying to know why your tagline under Debbie Bermont says 30-day prosperity plan. Tell us about that.
This year, gosh,
Sorry,
we're only
Debbie, can you start again?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're at January 7th, and so as I was tuning in energetically, what are the to how I can be of the greatest amount of service in the world, and showing people how to tap into that higher vibration. What's the one theme that people focus on, particularly after the holidays and spending, and now focusing on what they're headed to do and making their plans for the year? What do? They focus on money. They focus on finances. They focused on wealth and building wealth, and tuning into that energy where everybody starts off the year living from that place of I can, and then they peter off, right? And they trigger themselves into the what do I do and how do I do this? So I just taught a class last week actually, and the program is how to experience unprecedented financial results in your life by accessing the higher vibration of prosperity that you're already pre-wired for. And I literally explain in that class how you bypass all the lower vibrations of belief systems from your parents around money, belief systems you might have had that are constrictive around wealthy people, any belief systems that have prevented you from actually receiving and achieving what you want financially. It literally show you how to bypass that. So you're actually tapping into financial prosperity at literally the highest vibration. And so what I created was not only this program, but part of the program is a 30-day plan to prosperity. And so let's see, we started this program last week, and so people are now on like day 4, day 5. My students are already emailing me. And I give people a very specific thing that they need to do in the morning and in the evening. So here's what it looks like. Let me just share. Can I share the website with everybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the website is outrageousbusinessgrowth.com/PS, which stands for Powerhouse Summit. So PS. So outrageousbusinessgrowth.com/PS. You'll see the website. And what I did, I put together this program. It includes a few things. It includes the audio of that class, 2-hour class. It includes a very, very detailed handout that went along with the class. And shows you how to get the most benefit from the class, how to tune it, and I go into detail and explain how do you tap into these high vibrational frequencies that you're already pre-wired for. What knocks you out, how to get back in the space. I address the lower vibration of money, and I address the lower vibration of any kind of belief systems you have around money that are preventing you from receiving that higher level of prosperity in your life and financial prosperity. I address all of that. And then included in that is also the 30-day prosperity plan. It's very specific, and part of that is I created a guided journey that is 13 minutes long that you listen to every single morning and gets you in that space, that grounded space. It helps you clear out any lower vibrational energies. It helps you connect with the higher vibration of unconditional love, and it helps you connect with the high vibrational energy of abundant prosperity. So that's what the guided journey does. And then I ask you to follow a ritual in the morning and journal about it every night. It's very joyful. I am doing my own program right now, Asha.
Of course you are.
I actually, I channeled the whole thing, which all of the information. You listened to the call.
Yeah.
You were on the call, right?
And for me, it's like any time that I'm a part of any of your programs, I just feel a shift. I mean, completely. It's like, I mean, like I said it earlier, it's like your voice is very activational. I mean, your voice really carries the energy that you're communicating. And I did listen to the call, and I haven't started my 30-day. And I found, just the call, even on its own, to be very, very powerful. And even by listening to it, I noticed myself, getting into even a higher vibration. So, I mean, anything you do, I highly recommend it. So, and I think what I see here is that it's, you have offered it for $97. Is that right?
I offered it for $97. The price of the program is $127, so I discounted it for all the people here. The other thing that's included is for those people that register right away and sign up for the program, I'm doing a live call on Friday where I will answer any questions. Like once you listen to the 2-hour, the audio download, I will answer any questions you have about what's going on in your life around finances and how you can get out of that space. So I'm doing an actual live Q&A call on Friday, and people are sending me in their questions. They're also, what I find the most heartwarming is my students are sending in what's happening with them with a 30-day plan. I mean, they're super excited. I ask people to do very specific things. They're really getting into it. They love it. And there's already been testimonials, and we're only, 5 days into it? No, wait, I taught it last Friday. What day is this? This is Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So, yeah, people started their program on Saturday. So it's only a few days into it, and people are already seeing some results. So
Debbie, what kind of results are people seeing? Just curious if there's any way.
Well, I think I actually included, I think I included one of the testimonials that I literally got yesterday. Is one of the students, first of all, that they comment is they actually feel the difference in how they're being, and that's the whole point. Mm-hmm. They feel higher vibration. They feel that soul space, and so it's meant to literally focus your energy on that place of receptivity and that place of possibility. And I mean, you start to look at the world a different way. So one of my students, I think there's a testimonial on there, and she got a bunch of clients, just came in, and she's got a whole bunch of, I actually cut out some of because it was specific to her business, but she had a whole bunch of new opportunities that just showed up. I mean, she's hopping. She is really, really hopping. And I've got another student who's looking at buying a new business, and she got all sorts of, support from that. So you start getting a lot of energetic support because your whole focus. And I have you focus on a high vibrational word every day over the 30 days. And you actually start to see different themes show up for you over the 30 days. So I'll have a lot more to report back after the 30 days because we're all in this together. I'm actually documenting. It's exciting. It's very, very cool. And I'd love to hear from more of you that join the program, and hopefully I'll get to hear from you live on the Q&A call on Friday for those of you that join now.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, on where you're listening to this video, so if you go to ashastories.com/Debbie, that's where this is being streamed, and underneath the video there's a yellow tab, and if you click on that, it'll take you directly to the page so that you can get this program. And Debbie, I couldn't thank you enough for being here, for sharing your incredible wisdom and your high vibration. And, so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate you every time that you do something, you come out with something. It's amazing, and how honored I am to be able to share this with people who are listening this whole week. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Asha. Thank you for your beautiful words, and thank you for allowing me to share this energy with people across the world that are enjoying this. And it's really an honor and a privilege. And so thank you for including me in this.
All right. Well, thanks, and have a nice rest of your afternoon, okay?
All right.
And for everyone still on the video stream, again, if you go to ashastories.com/Debbie, you will see that the yellow tab will take you directly to where she's talking about. And just as, isn't she amazing? I love her energy. I love Debbie. Her energy is just incredible and so expansive, and I really hope that you were able to take as much in as she's offering at many, many different levels. So, you know, as she said, make sure that when you are going through shifts that you drink a lot of water, that you take care of yourself, check out what would really support you during this time. And absolutely, she didn't say it, but I would definitely say go get a glass of water at least, and just really take a little time, a little quiet time, if you're able to just reflect, and maybe, you know, jot some, you know, take your journal out, or just take out a piece of paper and just write down some of the shifts that you experienced during this hour that we were together. I think that if you allow a little integration time after this conversation, you will get a lot from it. So please do that. And just as a heads up, so tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to have my friend Erica Rock at 10 a.m. and she's going to talk about the balance between grace and being in the present moment. And then at noon, my friend Karen Parker, now she just got married, and she's going to talk about human design as a way to bring strategies to your specific design. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, all this Eastern Time, Reverend Elvia Rowe, and she'll be talking about authenticity and community from her unique angle, which is the angels. So we got a little bit of everything this week, I got to say, all kinds of different perspectives, but I definitely see the threads of what we're all sharing here. And I am just so honored and so grateful and humbled to be in the presence of these powerhouses. So enjoy your afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you're in, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.